afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talent You Should Know, presented to you by 9 to 5 Grind. Tonight we have a really special guest. We will be speaking with Miss Thomasina Perkins-Washington. If you don't know, then now you know. She is the CEO and principal of Capital Public Relations. She's also the PR rep for Russell Simmons, for Tracy Braxton. She owned the first women's football league, the Washington Women's Football League. So she is not only a woman on the move, but someone we really need to get to know. So I look forward to this interview and stay tuned. Well, welcome, everyone. We have Ms. Thomasina Perkins-Washington in the building. I'm so excited. She's the CEO and principal of Capital Public Relations, and I am really excited about this conversation because I don't know much about PR, and I'll be honest with you about that. And I think it's such an important conversation for people who are getting into any industry that's in entertainment. So
not just entertainment, business,
right?
Anybody with a story to tell.
So I wanted to start off with, can you tell us how you started? You know, did you always know that you were going to get into PR, or give us a little history?
So to be truthful with you, I had no idea. This was not something that was anything on my radar to do, I should say. I actually was a government worker. You know, I did all the things your parents tell you to do. You go to school, you get a job, you work, you raise your family, you pay your bills.
Yeah.
And then in somewhere in there, you have a little fun. You do, you're supposed to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Right.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I was a long-time government worker. I worked for the United States government for over 19 years.
Right.
Before I started doing the side hustle of public relations, and that's what we're going to get to it. I'm going to hurry it up. But the long story short, I have to say I was dying a slow death at my desk every single day. It started getting to the point where I'd show up. If I had leave, I'd look at my PTO, my LES, and be like, I got leave this week. I ain't coming today.
Wow.
I'm not doing it. I mean, because it was that point where I literally was almost sick to my stomach every day.
Wow.
But somewhere in between some of that, one of my admirals that I worked for, because I supported the United States Navy and Marine Corps during the last 9 years of my government. Well, for the most part, I did Navy the entire time, but Navy and Marine Corps was like that, the crux of it for like the last 9 years. And somewhere in between there, one of my admirals found that I had a knack for people, places, and things, to remember little small things. So I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Devil Wears Prada.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Miranda, that's my girl. But her Emily, her person.
Yeah.
Her job was she would whisper to Miranda and say, that's so and so and so and so.
Exactly.
So I became the girl in the office that, not that I like gossip or anything like that, but I just knew, like, I paid attention to people. And that, I'm going to say, comes from my grandmother, because my grandmother always taught us you treat the janitor like you do the president.
Talk about
everything in between. You just give people their respect, right? And so long story short, I was that person that would whisper, that's Captain so-and-so, his wife just had surgery, so-and-so and so-and-so's daughter just graduated school. And so that became a job. Like, it actually became other duties as assigned. That was my job, to walk around and make my, higher ups seem like they were more personable. And then in turn, what would happen is people would open up more. The meetings would be a little more, I wouldn't say lax, but at least now you're not afraid of what the of what your boss is saying. So now you feel a little like they're invested in you.
Right.
So now you're willing to really tell them what's really going on, as opposed to, keeping it so by the book and Right. And so that's kind of where it started. Then I ended up getting other duties as assigned. I became a community outreach person. And my job was then to go into the communities, find out what they need in order to make what we do in the military, right. And in doing that, I found a lot of nonprofits and things. Everybody always wanted a celebrity to attend or an athlete or something. I found out how to do that. And in doing so, I ended up meeting my first NFL player, and let's just say the rest is history.
You know what's interesting about that is that, I didn't start out, like, I'm still in my 9 to 5 now, and then, this is something that will grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking that into the universe.
You have to.
But, like, my job as an executive assistant, it's lasted long because I noticed things like if my boss had new socks or if someone got a 1/4 inch cut off their hair, like it's really like that attention to detail that, kind of makes you stand out to people. So I understand what you're saying as far as like how people are like, oh, okay, she's the one that's gonna, know everything that I need to know, right?
Exactly.
So what are some common misconceptions about public relations?
So one of the common misconceptions is that we're management. I don't manage my people. I am not a manager.
Right.
I am a publicist. And I will say this, and let's just kind of get this out the way. I need to say this.
Okay.
Public relations is the function. When people say PR, that is an abbreviation of public relations.
Right.
You do not need a PR.
I said public relations executive.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need public relations. You then in turn need a publicist to execute the job of public relations.
Yep.
Because if nothing drives me crazy more, it's when someone says, I think I need a PR. No. You need a publicist.
Right.
A publicist will then do the work.
Yeah.
We will then perform the function of public relations. But I have to get that out there because it's one. But then the other, though, is that we're management. Mm-hmm. One of the other things is that a big misconception is that the publicist makes you money.
Right.
Publicist does not make you money. A publicist's job is to keep you relevant, is to make sure the news that you need to have put out there is put out there.
Right.
Into the atmosphere. Your publicist is to come in with strategies and ways of staying on top of your persona, your brand. Mm-hmm. A publicist is also some publicists, because not all publicists specialize in certain things. Some publicists are good with event launches, so not to be mistaken for an event planner.
Right.
So there's a lot of fine lines that we tend to cross.
Yeah.
However, there is still a thing. We're pretty much, I'm not going to say the brains behind it, but the brains behind it, right?
Okay.
So we come up with the strategy and things like that. But then there's also publicists like myself who deal in crisis management.
Right.
Reputation management. Our job is to make sure that, when things happen, and they often do, right, wrong, or indifferent, intentional or non-intentional, there are things that sometimes rub people wrong. And or there are just, quite frankly, there's just lies put out about you, and you want to put that fire out.
Exactly.
Or you want to do something to help guide that opinion or that popular belief.
Right.
And so that's some of the things that we that we do. But the biggest thing is that we're not management, that our job is not to make you money,
right,
that we don't work on percentages of anything, because if we're not making you money, then we're not getting a percentage. Right. Most of us work on retainers and or flat fees, depending on the project, depending on the length, depending on the scope, depending on the type of client, because we work with anything from, there's some publicists who only work in food. There's some publicists who only are political. Right. There's some publicists who are only sports and entertainment, nonprofit, corporations.
Right.
So there's just, you've got public affairs offices, there's just so many different ones. But again, at the end of the day, our biggest job is to put together strategies to, we don't just write press releases. We don't just, do a couple of social posts and things like that. It is a full gamut. It's a machine, truthfully.
No, listen, at my company, I see this every day. And then what kills them is then when they stray from the strategy and it's like, this is not what the whole plan was.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you also have to be fluid. You have to be fluid.
Yeah.
Because the issue is, in public relations, that's why a lot of people say, when do you sleep? And I'm like, I've got time to sleep when I'm dead, right? But every now and again, I do catch some Z's. And you have to, because you do have to get refreshed and you got to rest your brain, right? But the thing is, you do have to stay fluid because things happen every day.
Yeah.
Something can happen. You ever watch those movies of like time travel?
Uh-huh.
And they tell you, don't alter this. Don't be careful not to alter this, or be careful not to let this past thing see you here, because one small change can change the trajectory. Right. Well, that is very real in public relations.
Right.
Something so small could blow up your entire plan.
Yep.
Could blow up your whole plan, or at least shift it.
Yeah.
Your entire plan. One small change can have you back at the drawing board. So you have to tell people. I know when I submit plans, I always let them know this is a living document.
Yes.
You have to say it, because the other thing I also do is I let people know there are no guarantees. Mm-hmm. We do put a plan in place. We work towards that plan, but everything from you to your assistants, to your team, your family, everything in there can have a direct effect and or consequence to things that we have put in place. And we just have to be mindful of that, and just know that, some days we may have to pivot.
Right.
But we pivot, we don't panic.
There we go. So I want to get into your career, but I just have one more question about people who are getting into public relations and who are aspiring to become a publicist.
I am a member of NABFEM, which is the National Association of Black Female Executives in Music and Entertainment. I am a member of Diverse Representation. I am a member of the Recording Academy, DC chapter. I am a member of the NFL Alumni Association.
We're going to get to
that. I am the marketing representative. I'm a member, so that's not necessarily a member, but I'm a marketing representative for the NFLPA, which is the National Football League Players Association. I hope I didn't forget anybody. And no, that's it. And then I'm also I've just acquired a women's football team.
Oh, yes.
The WFLA.
So excited about that.
But that's for the most part, that's the crux of my memberships. Oh, I'm also a member of and a field chapter representative of SUE, which is Sisters United Enterprises.
Okay. So my question is, as far as someone getting into this, are there like 3 or 4 like associations or groups that you recommend that they kind of get themselves involved with?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I believe that if you're not already practicing, things that you definitely should pay attention to. So for myself, as you can see, I'm a woman of color. So I would definitely say, although I'm not an official member, I would tell people to actually look into, I believe it's the Black PR Association, BPR, Black Public Relations Association, BPRA. So I would tell people, to follow them, and, just kind of get some ideas about, being, because one, there are some nuances about being, a woman of color also doing the work. Also women in PR. I also associate myself with women in PR as well. And then just PRSA, that's actually the national organization for publicists. And my thing is just read. Do homework. You don't always necessarily have to belong to anything, but I just believe that if you are going to do something, and if these associations are within the realm of what you're trying to do, well, continuing education is key to any field.
Yes. Yes.
So if there are if there's organizations out here that can help you stay relevant, keep in the know what's going on, stay contemporary, stay current, and know what's going on, because you're not going to get everything from the news. Because let's just face it, with the news, you got to check it and then double check it. You just never know exactly what's coming out. So you got to have reputable places to go to check.
Right.
And then not only that, being around like-minded people. Now, of course, with COVID, that being around word is, I have to use that loosely, but being able to stay abreast and stay connected to people. So like my NABFEM sisters, funny thing, the other day, the NABFEM president, Johnny Walker, put something out congratulating us, a couple of us, on different things. Well, what was funny was we had just done a press run. We were about to do a press run. I was going over the press run time. And one of my NABFEM sisters was going to be interviewing one of my clients on a radio show. Yeah. So it's just little things like that where you just, you just never know. And and keeping in contact with those people, let's just face it. I tell people all the time, I cringe when I hear people say I'm self-made. Because there's no such thing. Yeah. There's no such thing. There's absolutely no such thing. Your mama didn't make you by herself.
Yeah.
From day one, you were not self-made.
Yeah.
Period. There's no such thing. You can't do this alone. You can't do any of these things alone. Do I work a lot of long hours by myself? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But do I have people to bounce ideas off of or assist me here and there? Absolutely. Because we'd never get anywhere if we did it all by ourselves.
Even we met in Felicia's masterclass. That's how, you asked a question and I was like, oh, in public relations. Oh, I really want to learn about that. And, I reached out to you privately. So like that, networking like that.
Absolutely. And because those are those places. That's where you get that, because, we didn't have, because I'm not going to lie, Felicia's classes, those, I look forward to those. When I can do them, I am jumping on and I'm on, because every time.
We're learning, but it's like the learning club.
Look, a good glass of wine, and Felicia's classes and some of those guests she brings out, it's like, wow, because sometimes, and I say it sometimes, I think I probably put the same comment in every time, which is the night I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
Because some of the gems that are dropped from not just the presenters, but when you're reading those chats, they go by kind of fast. But when you're reading those chats, there's always something that resonates within you that helps give you that strength to keep going. Because, like as you mentioned, you're still working your 9 to 5, but yet you're straddling the fence and you're doing some things. Well, I was in that place at one point.
Right.
I've only been doing this as I say, without a safety net for a little over 7 years now.
Wow.
And it's not an easy thing to do. I said it's exciting. Sometimes it is the most exciting, yet the most terrifying thing you will ever do.
Yes. Yes.
Because believing in yourself is taking gambles on yourself. That's tough. Because you always got somebody in the back who means well, who loves you. But then you also got those ones who don't give a damn about you. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I can cuss. But I'm like, you always got those folks, that don't give a damn about you. But no matter what, you hear it the same.
Yeah.
You hear it the same, whether they love you or don't give a damn about you. You hear it the same. Why are you doing that? But and it takes a lot to push that stuff out and put the other stuff in.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. Even though we see it's the thing to do, right? The thing to do now is to be an entrepreneur. Well, I like to say to people, everybody want to be a boss until it's time to do the thing. The boss has got to do.
And I tell people this, like, because there was someone else like, oh, I want to start a podcast and this, that. And I'm like, and that's cool. And I said, and she's like, I'm going to film it. And I said, so then after you do like an hour of that, then you sit for another hour and then write down all the minutes that you need to trim, right? Make sure that you go back however many years to like study your subject. And then, don't forget to snatch the pictures and articles of these people online so you can put them in it's more than, this, but I think when it's something that you love and it's something that's actually in you, then it doesn't seem like work. And I just made a post about that today. I said, when you're doing what you love, right, it never seems like work. And I wanted to talk about it. It's so great that you mentioned that as far as taking the risk, because you did have your own firm from 2009 to 2014 called True Diva, right? Defining integrity.
Oh, you really did your homework. You did your
Oh, I
homework.
do that. Because you know what? People don't do things for it to be forgotten.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So your mission statement in that was to operate in boldness and integrity while helping others reach and achieve their dreams. So I wanted to know what you learned from that experience, because you did close that. So what did you learn from that experience, and why did it end?
So honestly, to be truthful with you, let's say this. We didn't, we closed it per se, but I'm going to say what we really did was we closed the chapter, because what really happened was True Diva evolved into Capital Public Relations.
I thought it might have been a rebranding, but I wasn't sure.
So that's exactly what happened. So because as I was working at the time, as I was working with all the NFL players, I'm working with athletes, and my name was True Diva. So
that was a testament to the times. You know what I mean? Like, I could see it. Yeah.
Yes, and it was. So, but I will say this. So we're going to back up just a little bit. So True Diva was actually born out of, I was turning 40. I was going through a divorce. I was hurt, broken, everything, and I was psyching myself up.
Right.
I was working in this military office, and I was hyping myself up. So True Diva began with a calendar that we called the Nova Men calendar. That calendar was a collection of some fine brothers and just in all shades and textures and nationalities and all of this. And so, but what I did, because I've always had a heart for giving back.
Right.
But I only give back to things that matter to me. I have to be honest. Right. And so what that was we built this calendar. And at first it was just going to be party favors for my 40th birthday. Right. It then morphed into a full-fledged calendar business. And, here we are. And we donated proceeds from the calendar to an organization called Saving Promise, which was basically based off of a book that a friend of mine, L.Y. Marlowe, had written, basically chronicling the life. Saving Promise was her granddaughter. She was chronicling 4 generations of battered women.
Wow.
And so I had these men who were saying, we support you. We love you. And then you have to understand, I had these men doing this while I'm going through a nasty divorce.
Yeah.
So I'm still saying I'm holding out hope.
Yeah.
Because I know not all men are pieces of shit. And I knew that there were some men out here. When I say the men that I picked for this, and that some of my again, this team that I had at the time, we picked some amazing men. Mm-hmm. I knew some of them from my work in the government. I knew some of them from, they were up and coming artists or NFL players, a couple of my Publicist friends. And at the time, I didn't even know I was into Publicist.
Right.
PR. I didn't even know I was into PR at that time. It was more an events thing. And it was and I just wanted to make that work. And again, meeting those guys, people just saw that I had a knack for it. And here we are. True Diva. So once I actually signed on my first NFL client, which was Joshua Morgan of the then Washington Redskins, which is now Washington football team. Right. He was an active wide receiver, signed him as my first official signed celebrity client. And although he accepted me as True Diva, he was cool, but it was going into some of these meetings with the NFL and United Way and, all these different things. And don't get me wrong, I didn't feel ashamed about it, but I just kept noticing certain things. And then I realized one day the light bulb went off and said, you know what? True Diva is both too Black and too female.
Right. Right.
Period.
Because
Period.
the thing
Even
is,
though Diva
the first
stood
thing
for
they see is
defining,
Diva, right?
yeah, even though Diva stood for defining integrity, vision, and authenticity, something like that, right? But the bottom line was authority. There it was, authority. But the truth of the matter is, it still was too black and it was too feminine for
Right.
the industry that I was most
Right.
focused in, which was NFL,
Now,
men, male athletes.
now, did you go to other companies after that? I thought that after, like during that time or somewhere after that, you were with other companies with other firms doing some health stuff.
So absolutely, because during True Diva, the
Yeah,
entire time I was doing True Diva, I was still working a 9 to 5 job.
right.
I was still working for the government, but then I also bought a franchise within the Miss America organization.
Right.
So I was running a pageant.
Because why not? Right?
Why not? I only had 2 kids to raise.
Right.
Only had 2 kids to raise,
Yeah.
and then a granddaughter that got sprinkled in there. But yeah, I started that, and then my co-executive director Hakima and I, mind you, we were in the same cubicle
Right.
working for the Marine Corps
Right.
at the time, and I said, hey, you want to do a pageant? We were like, what? Why not? Originally, we were just supposed to help someone else, and then she decided she didn't want to do it, so we were like, well, wait a minute. We took over the license, and the rest is history. We did that for almost 8 years, and truth be told, the only reason why I'm not doing it, only reason why we're not doing it now, well, one, because of COVID, which was crazy because we were both going to take a break this year, and then COVID happened, and so we were forced to take it anyway. So look at God making sure, because we didn't quite say no. We haven't quite walked fully away yet, but we did know that we were kind of getting to that place. And a couple of our girls have, matter of fact, one of our former girls was the last Miss Virginia.
Oh.
Right now, Dot Kelly has actually stepped in to be, Miss Virginia. So we've had the pleasure of mentoring some amazing young ladies who have carried our title, and I am proud to say that just about every young lady that's carried our title, whether they won a national or a or regional title after our locals, they are still young ladies that we still keep up with, here and there, when they see us, and to watch them grow, because we brought something different. Hakeem and I are both, as I say, learned women.
Right.
Then we're learned Black women. So we have different nuances, and we didn't take a lot of stuff that other people would take. We let the girls know that you are a brand. When you put that crown and sash on,
absolutely,
you're not just you're representing a brand, and you are a brand. So they are to treat you as such, but more importantly, you're to treat yourself that way.
So what's interesting, first of all, I love the initials of Capital Public Relations because it's CPR. And I didn't know if that was intentional, like, resuscitating or saving careers or something like that.
Our tagline in the very beginning when we switched it over was breathing life into entertainment professionals.
There it is.
That was our tagline. But then we started doing more things with corporates. So we just kind of took away the tagline.
Yeah.
But I still say breathing life.
Yeah.
One of my NFL players, matter of fact, Lamont Reed, I'll throw him out there. He used to play for Kansas City Chiefs, but the Arizona Cardinals. But he said something about, girl, you know how to resuscitate all, because for some reason I would get people either on the brink of leaving the league or have already gone, because I also represent, some really great guys in the league, like Clinton Porter, Fred Smoot, but I didn't start representing them until after they were gone. So they were no longer on the field playing.
Right.
But once you've got the shield behind you, you're still, first of all, we're all somebody. So let me just say that. But you're still, you still have things to do. You're still a public figure.
You're rebranding. You know what I mean? So now you might not be on the field, but off the field, who are you now, right?
Exactly.
What have you morphed into?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that happened. And then I also, we saw a shift almost immediately when the name changed.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like on paper, no one can see, but like you were saying, when it says True Diva versus Capital Public Relations, right? That's definitely, like you said, it was very, it's Black woman, you can kind of feel it versus like, oh, okay, this is a little bit more ambiguous. So I see
Mhm.
what you were saying. So in as you worked with different companies in PR and opening up your own firm, what do you think, what are your differences and what do you think makes your firm a cut above the rest?
I'm going to be honest with you. One, with Capital Public Relations, first of all, I just believe that we don't allow ourselves to be pigeonholed. That's one.
Okay.
We take on so many different things. Sometimes people say you're all over the place. Well, no, that's because everything is going on, right?
Yeah.
So we're universal. Like one of the reasons why I chose Capital was because one, I didn't want something to completely define where I am.
Yeah.
So there is a capital in every state, in every country.
Right.
You have a capital of that region, right? So therefore, anywhere I go, there's a capital somewhere.
Yeah.
So that means we're universal. We're global. We're not just we can't be confined by one thing.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, that's what makes us different. I think what also makes us different is that, quite frankly, we care. We don't just take jobs based on how much someone can pay.
Yeah.
I have clients who are just getting started, have no clue what public relations is,
Yeah.
doesn't even know if they really need it. I mean, I turn people away like almost daily, and it's no slight to them, but it has everything to do with you're not ready.
Right.
You're not ready. You don't need me right now, and I'm not going to just take your money because you're willing to give it to me. I'm going to tell you that right now you need to do this, 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 and this, and then come back and see me.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to come back and see me, at least get an idea
Yeah.
of what a publicist does, how a publicist can be of use to you,
Uh-huh.
and then pick that person, with more, knowing a little bit more about it. Unfortunately, a lot of times people get into this business not realizing that part of what people are buying when they're buying your services or when they're coming to you for your services is they're coming to you for your network.
Right.
Which means you don't just jump out here being a $10,000 a month publicist. Not saying that I am yet, but you do, and I'm not going to lie, there are times when I come in and I have come in to assist publicists that are the 10, 20, 15, $20,000 a month publicists.
Right.
But yet I'm doing all the work.
Right.
Because I understand.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things, there's a niche sometimes, right? Everybody has their thing that they just get. It just comes natural to you. You just get. So then you can actually give a real assessment of this is what we're supposed to be doing because you get it. It's in here. No. Because I don't care what anyone says, publicists, it's about your vibe. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, you can learn some things. Anyone can learn how to write. I mean, you see over here my books. I've got my go-tos right here. You got your books. I got the things, but it's in here.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. You don't get into public relations without loving this.
Yeah.
Because it's not that kind of job.
Yeah.
Not that kind of job. You cannot just sit and do this job effectively and not love it. If you don't love it. So that's what makes me different. I think the passion is what makes me, because you can't sell what you don't believe.
Yeah.
And although I don't consider myself a salesperson,
right.
Maybe, but you can't sell what you don't believe.
Right.
So I don't take on clients I don't believe in.
And that's interesting, when you were talking about as far as like the capital and why you chose that name, because when I originally had this podcast, it was called Just Trying to Keep the Lights On. And it's cute.
I love it. That's catchy though, but go ahead.
But I was talking to, I paid to my another woman that I saw in the group, and I said, hey, can you just like look at my business and like, what do I need to refine? What do I need to do? And she said, well, the name, it doesn't tell you anything about what you're doing. And she said, if you're going to be interviewing people in entertainment, no one wants to just be trying to keep their lights on. Right.
Yep.
And I said, oh my goodness. And then I thought about saying something with music or movies. And I said, no, because I want to interview people, not just who are in the spotlight, but I want to interview behind the scenes. So that's why I said talent you should know. You know what I mean? Because this is like being a publicist, being a manager, being a hair, these are all talents, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
And again.
And what you do is a talent. Everyone has, they're all talent. Mm.
So you have like, as you know, we heard a variety of clients. You have athletes, you have actresses, reality stars. So do you have a particular strategy of how you represent each in a way, or how you handle them as far as your business?
To be truthful with you, it really depends on the client, and depends on, because every last one of them are always in different stages.
Right.
So no two people are the same. No two clients are the same. So I can't run one client's public relations strategy the same way I do another.
Right.
Now, of course, there's certain nuances that, they're the same. Press releases, if they've got a product that they're wanting to launch, we're going to, certain things are cookie cutter. Like those types of things, yes. But each one, the bottom line, we're in people business. We're in the people business. So we have to understand the person that we're working with, what it is that they're trying to get across, and then understand their fans.
Yeah.
Or the fans they're trying to attract.
Got it.
So
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So do I have, bottom line, the answer, the short answer to that is each client is different. Each strategy is then different.
Right. So what made you get into producing? First of all, congratulations on your NAACP Image Award nomination. That's like,
thank you. Well, that was collective, because so again, going back to that no self-made, right. that was not myself. Let me just put so the company, one of my clients is Offset Productions.
Right.
And I am so grateful to Chuck West and Bree and that whole team, because they saw something in me that I didn't even see, to be truthful. I just came on like, oh yeah, I'll write a press release for you. We'll talk about the upcoming film, And the next thing you know, I'm on the set with my very first one with them was Angrily Ever After. And it just seemed like I came in on the tail end of that one. Then I end up in the beginning phases of Twas, which is the one that was nominated for the NAACP award, and that was actually nominated in the writing category. So the writer, Cass Singer Beals, she actually, would have won that collectively, right? But of course we still say it because hey, it's our film. And then we come on to the ones that are debuting and premiering this Saturday. I don't know when this is going to air, but on the 12th of December, we have a new film coming out called The Christmas Lottery. And then we also have something so freaking amazing. Yeah. And I get excited, but I can't help it because it's so amazing. Because I love being able to be a part of things that are like first ever. When you hear first ever, you're like, yeah. So we are doing the first ever live stage play, which will be available on pay-per-view. So guess what? We're bringing the stage to you, to your home. So the best part too is, check this out. When you go to the play, you go to Broadway, you go to see any stage play, Warner Theater here in DC, whatever, anywhere else in the United States where you used to going to check out your plays. Yeah. And you got to buy a ticket for everybody that want to go. Right. Well, guess what? On Saturday, you can see on December 12th and the 13th, you can see Love on a Two-Way Street, written and directed by Don B. Welch, starring Kelly Price, Vanessa Williams, Erica Ash, Dorian Wilson, Tony Rock, etc. Right? Wow. You get to see them live on stage. Couple of show times, pay-per-view, $29.99. Your entire family can sit there. You can have you some drinks. You can get you some popcorn, do what you want to do, and you can watch the play. And then if you want to get fancy with it, on Sunday the 13th, there's a VIP package where you get to do a Zoom. You get to do your question and answer with the cast after the show. So, but it is the first ever, it's the first of its kind. So I'm excited to see, how that's going to go out. I've seen some of the rehearsals, and it's a bomb play. And I just can't wait to see how people, react to it. Because again, COVID thought it had us knocked out. But see, we as a people,
yeah,
can't nobody, people don't understand the resilience of our folks.
Yes.
And again, I'm gonna go ahead and diversity, everybody comes together. But we as a people,
yes.
Yes, we know, if we don't know nothing else, we know how to survive.
So can you tell us a little bit about your philanthropic efforts and why that's important to you?
So bottom line, you have to, in order to lead, you have to be a servant. Period.
Yeah.
Period. You have to serve in order to lead. You cannot, if you don't understand how to be a servant, you'll never be a good leader. Period. And so that's where, I can't even go into, because there's so many different things that we do. And that is honestly based on the clients and what our clients passions are, or compassions, I should say. So because of that, I get involved in quite a few. Now, of course, there are some that are just more near and dear to my heart. So I may recommend or may help. So I definitely do things with regards to abuse, children who have been abused. I do things, battered women. I do things cancer related. I do things, of course, poverty and, homelessness and things of that nature. And then there's those things that sometimes you just didn't even know about. Yeah. Like there's always something that pops up and you're like, wow. Yeah. Right. So, and then of course, also learning to, because unfortunately when you're dealing with charities, you also have to deal with scammers. Yeah. So a lot of my job is weeding them out and weeding out the ones that are actually doing what they say they're going to do. Yeah. One of the people who is my mentor in my head is Judy Smith, the woman that Scandal was fashioned after. She said something once. It's something so small. Be who you say you are. And that's it. And it's so hard, because what people don't understand is you don't have to be perfect. You just got to be who you say you are. And I take that approach in both the business and the giving, because giving isn't always your money. And I think that's where a lot of people get things twisted. They think that in order for you to be a good steward, or in order for you to be a good servant, that means I'm supposed to, open a checkbook and write a check to you. No, my time, and it even says it in the Bible, give your talent. Yeah. Because a lot of times what I give to you in my talent is worth more than the money. Yeah. A lot of times, but people don't always, they don't always see that. And I blame that on this materialistic society that we've become. But more often than not, you see a lot of people who are definitely starting to get back into it. And I'm going to tell you what, on this entrepreneur journey, you learn that fast. Yeah. You learn that fast. And you start seeing, what really matters. What really matters. And what really matters is that your neighbor is okay. Yeah. What really matters is that your family is okay. And then it's okay not to be okay, but you don't have to judge them because they're not okay. Because your version okay may not be my version of okay. Yeah. So So that's where we are with that. So I hope I actually answered the question.
You did.
Because I know in the pageant world, I'm always like, just answer the question.
No, it's good because, you touched on a lot of things. And one thing my son told me the other day is that he walks back home from work, right? He's 17, he walks back home from work. And he says that whenever he has work that day, he gives half his tips to a different homeless person he sees on the way. And that just hit my heart. So, and I was just like,
means you're doing a good job, Mom. You showed him something.
Oh my gosh, like it just really touched me that this is the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because he's doing it selflelessly. Like I don't have to say.
Exactly. So, but that's because he had an example.
Yeah.
See, he saw that somewhere. They didn't just pop up in his head. He saw it somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what people don't also do, because see, people are going to really do what you say, are going to do what you do more than what you say.
Yep. So I saved this to the last thing because I'm like so excited about this, and I just saw the uniforms. So you bought.
I like using the term acquired.
You acquired.
We acquired. Doesn't that sound a little bit better? Doesn't acquire sound like
acquired the Washington women's football team? What made you do that? I cannot even. I'm so proud of you.
So let me tell you, I am still
pinching yourself. I can
like,
imagine. What
did you do, girl?
Right.
But now what's crazy is because I am a sports girl. So let's just put that out there. I'm a sports girl, and that goes back to working with the NFL players, right?
Right.
And then even before, but I'm a sports girl. That's just that's the thing. But then I'm also girl power. Right.
Yeah.
And so I heard about the league before because you hear certain things here and there. Heard about it, didn't really know what it was. Right. Had a chance conversation with the young lady who actually made history with this particular league, which is the WFLA, the Women's Football League Association, right, which was founded by Lupe Rose, who. Honey, that child can sell water to a daggone lake. So I heard about it, and so one of her players at the time, Santia Deck, was in the news all over the place because, here this beautiful young running back, right? African-American, so that's one. So one, she's African-American. Right. Two, she signs the first ever multi-million-dollar deal to play a professional female sport.
Wow.
Then she's freaking gorgeous.
Right.
Right? So that's knocking quite a few myths all in one swoop in this one child, right? And so, like I said, I had a chance meeting with her, talked to her, did a few, some things. And so, kind of went back on the wayside. Well, then I met another young lady through one of my other clients, and we met on the campaign trail for I can't remember now who, but anywho, we met with one of my clients. We did some things. So Shatana Nelson of Finest Hour PR, we got to talking, and then I saw that she was part of the draft for the WFLA. So I'm talking to her, and I'm like, girl, you didn't tell me nothing about this WFLA. What's going on here? So I need to holler at you about that for me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So then I start asking questions. So sometimes all it takes is just to ask a couple of questions. So I started asking some questions. That led to a meeting to the CEO, Lupe Rose, her COO, Don Taylor. Had a conversation, and long and short, then I talked to one of my other clients, Russell Simmons and some other folks, and let's just face it, Russell Simmons is an innovator. Okay, this man has started more things.
Can I tell you, when I saw that, I was like, he has inspired a lot of things in my life.
He has inspired a lot. And, he has made, matter of fact, I mentioned to you NABFEM. Well, the president of NABFEM, Johnny Walker, was one of the first female executives over at Def Jam.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? There are tons of female executives. There's quite a few female executives right now, to include Felicia, where we met, right? That if you go back and look at some of the heaviest hitting women now, and you go back and look at their resumes as you've done, you will find Def Jam. Especially when you're looking at a woman of color, you will find Def Jam in their resume, some shape, form, or fashion. So to have someone like that who believes in taking a chance, of course, being, taking a chance, but yet making some sense of it, right? Having someone like that in your corner, even though it's my client, you're still in my corner, and then I'm still constantly watching him reinvent himself. Over and over and over again. But the one thing that's consistent is, although he's reinventing himself, the one thing I have not seen him do is not forget people around him.
Yeah.
He empowers people around him. Having people like that who say, if you have the opportunity, why not? And you're going to make a difference. Because, see, the difference in the WFLA and some of those other leagues, because a lot of people are asking the question, and as I rolled out that we have a team in D.C., we were getting people saying, well, you already have 2 teams in D.C. Yeah, but let me ask you this. Are you paying to play? Or are you volunteering?
Right.
Because the difference in the WFLA is we're going to give you a salary.
Exactly.
See, WNBA, they came out, and let's just face it, those girls, I think now they make about $50,000 a year as the base. Come on now. That's why the girls have to, when they're done with their season, they have to go and play overseas or keep a day job, those kind of things, unless you are fortunate enough to, get different endorsements. But let's face it, everybody's not going to get those.
It's endorsement, yeah.
So we're giving women an opportunity to play a sport they love and get paid to do it.
Yeah.
So that's also going to open up jobs. That's going to, not just for the players, but for the front office staff, concessions, retail. I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I first said, oh yeah, then when it settled in, it was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But we're here now. We're here now. We're going to make it do what it do. And this is where all this networking, you never realize what everything you were doing, you never realize what it was setting you up for.
Yeah.
Until times like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited. And now I'm not the only owner. I am the majority owner, because since we met on Felicia's management class, I actually brought in 2 co-owners. One was my brand manager, Ash Samuels, and the other is my one of my former NFL players, Joshua Morgan. But then we also have people like Clinton Porters who are going to help in the front office and things like that. I've got a huge support system that I could not be more thankful of. And of course, we have several other roles that will be shared, later as they come in and as we solidify contracts and things like that.
Well, I'm excited to see what's to come. I'm excited to buy tickets, and I said buy.
Can't wait. No, we can't wait.
Okay.
Thank you. Because people don't understand,
Support Black business, support these things. It's not like, even when I get a discount code for these places online, I don't use a discount code. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, these are businesses. Either they're small businesses or they're entrepreneurs getting stuff. Yeah, I will pay for those tickets.
Because people don't when I say thank you from the bottom of my heart, even though we haven't even sold one yet, but thank you from the bottom of my heart, because the truth of the matter is, people don't understand that, if we're giving everything away, well, how am I going to pay the players? How are we going to pay the people that are running the consent,
Yeah. So I know you have plans for the future. I hope at some point you look into writing a book. I know that this is just me projecting and me being selfish, just wanting to, to read an autobiography or something. But I know that you're super busy now. Is there anything that you have planned for 2021 that you want anyone to know about?
To be honest with you, the biggest thing I have planned for 2021 is making sure that people understand who some of my clients are.
Yeah.
And how instrumental they are to what's going on forward. I would be remiss if I didn't say Russell Simmons.
Yeah.
That man is constantly reinventing, and I am so proud to be his publicist. Clinton Portis. My hope is that a yellow jacket for the NFL Hall of Fame is in his future. Tracy Braxton. Oh my God. When you see what she's got going on, oh my gosh. When I tell you she's got the purest heart I've ever met. I've got an up and coming artist, Deanna Stealth, who's got some music getting ready to blow everybody away. I cannot wait until people get that in 2021. And then also Fred Smoot, he's always on TV and things like that, and he's doing his thing. We've got as a matter of fact, there's a dating app that's actually already kind of out there. It's called Wink and Drink. So you guys can go check that out on social media. So that's going to be launching in 2021. And then of course I'm saving the best for last. The WFLA Washington team. Joshua Morgan, who's also one of my clients and now co-owner with me. We can't wait for people to see what we've got going on. And then, of course, there's going to be all those sprinkled things. And of course, Offset Productions, we've got more films coming, UMC, BET movies, regular movies. I mean, we just 2021 and beyond. So because all of this is not going to fit in 2021, but a lot of things are going to happen during 2021. Now, as far as a book and things go, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm from the old school. I believe that someone like myself as a publicist, part of my job is to be behind the scenes. Yeah. So although I'm doing few things like this, to be truthful, the only reason why I'm doing this one is because I met you in the class, right? And you are doing your thing. I'm playing with cards. So you're doing your thing, and so you asked, and I said yes, right? Because you're part of this group of women that we need to uplift, and we need to do what we need to do. So if I can help, I'm going to help, right? But I believe, as an old school publicist, that I should never be so far ahead of or out in front of the clients that I represent.
Right.
My clients do interviews. My clients do those things. So as long as we're talking business, which is what we're doing, then I'll do that. I will do those. But you won't really find me on panels and things like that because of the simple fact of, in my mind, and again, this is just my personal take on it, that in my mind, as a working publicist, my job is, of course, to big up my clients. My job is to, because when people talk to you, they want to know about which clients got going on. Well, part of my job is confidential.
I didn't ask about any of your clients.
And I love it. And we love it. Yep.
Intentionally, right.
Yep. Because unfortunately, a lot of times you do see that, and so that's not my thing, I feel like once I retire, if I ever retire, because this is one of those kind of jobs that I believe I can do until I die, right? Until I take my last breath. But if I ever decide to retire, that is when I think I may write a book or anything. Now I may write one with regards to, needing PR or how to identify if you need it, more like an instructional kind of thing. Okay. I might do that. But as far as telling my story, honey, I'm still writing my story.
There we go.
I'm still living my story, I should say. I'm still living my story. Let me say it that way.
That is the perfect ending to this conversation. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on my show.
I appreciate you.